Your individual journey is important.
Realizing that my individual energy, what I bring to the table when I'm clear, that when I come back to my true energy all by itself without having to help anybody out of obligation, but just being me, that all by itself is enough to create a ripple effect. Before we jump into our podcast episode today, I have one quick request. If you can like, share, and subscribe, or leave us a positive review on this podcast episode, we would be so eternally grateful for your support. You have no idea how much your support means to us and how much your support and your interactions help keep this podcast alive. Okay, now let's go into our episode.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Awakening Souls podcast with your host, Rose, Candace, and Jennifer. We are so glad that you're here with us today. I went in and did a channel just for today's episode. So I'm going to share that channel with you. And then we're going to have a beautiful discussion about what does that channel really mean? And how does that play out in everyday life with the nuts and bolts of figuring out your schedule, finding time to take care of you, learning how to treat yourself the very best of ways. Let's get started. Okay, so here is the channel, and I opened up the Akashic Records and asked for a channel that would be appropriate for anyone who finds this podcast episode. And I'm just going to read it straight as I received it. We want you to think about water and the ocean, how big and expansive it is. How on the surface there seems to be simply water and waves, especially out in the deep waters away from land. The waves can be big or small, ferocious or gentle, but it is moving water undulating according to its circumstances. But when we look below the surface, there is a lot more that is happening, not visible, but impactful to the integrity of the water. There are sea creatures, big and small. There are currents, land formations, debris, plant life, and other energies not visible with the human vision. The water is moving around these objects as well as moving the objects at the same time. It's a give and take, allowing many different types of beings to coexist within the container of the water. The container shifts and changes to make space for all that is within it. It is a never-ending dance, with the waves on the surface being influenced by all that is happening below. You can view this in different ways. You can see the objects as independent from the water, pushing and pulling at one another. Or you can see it as all one, with much happening within its totality. Both truths are correct, and both truths have value. Now, switch the water to air and atmosphere. Switch the sea creatures to humans. And the same is happening on your earth. All of the humans, as well as the animals and the plants and everything else, are moving within the container of earth. Their actions and movements influence what is seen, but most of what is happening is below the surface. We as humans often only have access to what we see with our eyes, as well as other physical senses. As humans, we're moving through an awakening right now. And as we go through this process, the humans are beginning to sense the deeper happenings below the surface. At first, this can be overwhelming. More information is coming in than we are used to. But as the human makes adjustments and becomes acclimated to the bigger knowing, things do calm down. The next step is the newly awakened human discovers that he or she cannot change all the things that they are observing, but they can change themselves. They can look below the surface within to elicit great change. And that change may seem small, but it has an effect on the Earth's oneness vibration. The more we calm the inner seas, the more calm the whole becomes. And this last part, they said with a very great emphasis: do not ever discount the importance of your singular journey. Do not see the work you do is insignificant. This is the only way, one beautiful soul at a time, choosing to look within, that we can move the entirety of the planet forward. It all matters, especially you.
That was good.
Yeah, I liked that channel. I always like it when I get something that I wouldn't have really thought of myself, and
Yeah.
it's worded with words that I know, but words
Right.
that I don't really use.
Combination of it all. And it all like it resonated. It made sense.
The main message is that your individual journey is important,
Yes,
and
that
that
part.
it is important for you to look within to find what works to create your best life.
Mhm.
And if you've got everybody in your life needing things from you, do you have the ability to do that inner journey? Or are you being distracted by other people's expectations?
Mhm.
Well, while you were reading the channel, I was hearing two messages in there, like within that one channel. When you were talking in the beginning about there being all of these different variety of waves, I equated that to being like each individual person. And then under the surface, there was all of these things, garbage, seashells, other life happening underneath the surface. And to me, that was like, we are all looking at individuals, or we all feel as individuals, yet we can only see so much with our eyes. We can only perceive so much and understand so much. And what's really happening underneath the surface for somebody is so much more complicated than we can see with our physical eyes or understand. So to me, there was like an individual journey here that we're talking about, each person having compassion for each person who is going through their own thing, and how we can't pretend that we know it all about what's going on with them. There's so much underneath the surface: who created who they are, who's created their, their the path, their patterns, their traumas, their journey. And then also this wider scale of that is exactly what it's like on planet Earth, that we can only perceive and see so much in front of us, but that doesn't mean it's the whole story. That there are so many other dimensions and beings and life that are beyond what we can perceive. And even though we can't perceive it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and doesn't mean that it doesn't have some sort of effect on our lives, and that we don't have an effect on their lives, or whatever is going on in these other dimensions and in other planets and with other beings. It's just like all of these energies tend to be overlapped on top of each other. We can only see one plane of existence, but there's a whole cake, the whole layered cake, and we're only living in one layer. But
Mhm.
our layer matters. Our individualism matters. Our personal journeys matter, and they affect the structure of the whole.
Yeah, I notice whenever I go into a place that has lots of people, like I travel and I have to go through an airport, all of a sudden I start feeling insignificant because there seems to be so many people. And I start thinking, okay, well, there's so many people, then, what I do probably isn't that really big of a deal. How big of an impact can my little soul make when there's, billions on the planet? I think that is a failing of the human brain and the way it's structured. It's like my brain can't see what a billion different people are doing all at the same time.
And there is that ripple effect. We think that we may just do one itty bitty nice kind thing to somebody, and that could have a huge effect and a ripple effect that spreads. So how, like, I could have helped 50 people in a way just by helping one person, or just by, saying something that that one person needed to hear. I
Here's
don't know.
something else that I've been learning personally through my own journey, right? As an empath, I have ingrained beliefs that I need to be of service of other people. I need to be helping other people in order to be important or in order to be loved. I am unlearning all of that as like really potently over the last couple of months. And I'm realizing that my individual energy, what I bring to the table when I'm clear, when I'm not entangled in somebody else's business, when I'm not, moving from or acting from a place of needing to be loved or needing to feel worthy or needing to be of service in order to fill something within me, that when I come back to my true energy all by itself without having to help anybody out of obligation, but just being me, being within my own uniqueness, my own blueprint, energized, rejuvenated, clear, healed, that all by itself is enough to create a ripple effect, because the energy of you is always being connected to the person next to you, and they're picking up our energies, our auras are reading each other. They're reaching out and picking up pieces and information, underneath the surface. We can't see that it's happening, but we're moving through the world and we're connecting with all these different energies, and they're picking something up from you. And if your energy is clear and cluttered and you are moving from lack of worth, or needing to be loved, then like we're leaving that imprint with other people.
Mm.
But when we're really clear and grounded and centered in who we are, then we're living that with them. And then that creates the ripple. Like, I don't know if I'm saying this well, but just the mere fact that you exist and you're taking good care of yourself and you're creating good boundaries and you're keeping your energy clear is enough to make a ripple effect and impact on the world
Mhm.
without you having to do or prove anything.
I struggle with that too, Candace. I struggle with feeling like I always have to be doing something to help somebody else.
Mhm.
And then when I do things for myself, there's guilt there.
Mhm.
So I'm way better than I used to be, but I still struggle with that because I think I was trained that way just from growing up as a kid. I always had to be helping somebody else, and that was just a philosophy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or needing to be considerate of what your actions are, or how you're always making somebody feel, and like making sure that you're placing what you need and your feelings on the back burner to be more palatable for people around you. And I'm not like, I know that we need to be considerate of other people. That's not at all where this conversation is going. It's the people who are over considerate of other people and always putting everyone's needs in front of their own and forgetting about themselves. It's coming back home to the self where you can take really good care of what you're being housed in. So that way you can have this overflow of love and rejuvenation in your own energy, so you can give back to other people from an aligned place, not from a place of lack or from
Depletion.
burnout or needing anything from anybody else. It's just you're so secure, you feel so good in your own energy, in your own body, and now you can give without the burnout, without the overwhelm.
Yeah, because you have that overflow
Yeah.
that you can give. I love that.
Hey guys, before we get back to today's episode, we wanted to take a moment to share something really special that we've been building.
We've created a space on Patreon that goes deeper than we can offer here on the podcast. It's kind of like our energetic living room, cozy, intentional, and full of connection.
It's a community space for those of you who are craving more spiritual guidance, more support, and more opportunities to strengthen your intuition and walk your healing path alongside others who get it.
Inside, we share extra episodes, channeled messages, journal prompts, intuitive workshops, and so much more. But more than that, it's a place where you can grow with us, a place where you don't have to do this spiritual journey alone.
We really see it as a container for transformation, a space to be held, guided, and inspired, not just by us, but by spirit and by each other.
So if you're feeling the nudge, If you're ready to deepen your connection to yourself, to spirit, and to a soul-aligned community, we'd love to have you.
You can check out the different tiers at patreon.com/awakening souls podcast, or just tap the link in our show notes.
We're so grateful you're here. However you choose to journey with us, we see you, we honor you, we thank you, and we're walking right alongside you.
Now back to our episode.
Giving from a place of love rather than from a place of resentment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the key. But then don't judge yourself when sometimes you do give from a place of resentment, just because that's where you're at and that's what has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just good communication when you recognize that, ooh, am I actually giving because it feels aligned and it feels really good to me to give in this place? Or am I giving when I'm overexhausted, burnt out, and resent it? I mean, we all have patterns that started somewhere, and we're automatically playing out these patterns over and over and over again. And they become so automatic for us that we don't realize. It's hard to have the awareness of like what we're doing. So by having that awareness, that is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I have been working on this. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So yesterday, I had actually the last couple of days, I have given myself full permission to just rest, like real rest. I haven't been on my phone. I haven't been scrolling through social media. I haven't been worrying about work tasks. I have been just taking really good care of my body and the rest that I need. And I struggle constantly with feeling burnt out. Like, can't take me anywhere because I'll get burnt out real easily and it'll take me days to recover. I feel like that when I do any kind of energetic work, as much as I love it, when I come out of it, it's a day or two of recovery. Being in deep communication or deep conversations with people drain me. Being out in public drain me. So it's like, I always have this fear of like putting my energy into anything fully because I'm so terrified that I'm not going to have any energy left that I can't give to my family. Like when my kids come home from school, what am I going to feel like? And typically it's lethargic and exhausted and needing like space and quiet because I'm overstimulated already before the kids even walk through the door. So I've been really experimenting with this nervous system regulation, which has been incredible, the changes that I felt in my body, because I'm not telling my brain to do something different. I'm telling my nervous system, I feel safe in my body. I feel safe to do these things. I'm not going to burn out because I've got good care. I'm taking good care of myself. So I've been working on like making sure I'm drinking enough water, breathing, checking in with my nervous system constantly. Are we in fight or flight? Are we calm and regulated? And making sure that I'm never going hungry. I don't know if I said that already, but and meditating a lot. So these last couple of days, I've let myself do nothing but rest. And I'm not watching TV. I'm not on my phone. I'm taking good naps. I'm meditating. I'm channeling. And that's what I've been doing. And I spent all day yesterday, like the first half of the day, napping and meditating. And I wasn't beating myself up. I've noticed I have a pattern when I give myself rest, I immediately start beating myself up and start worrying about all the things that I'm not doing. And that's not rest. Yesterday, I was able to catch that pattern really quickly. I gave myself permission to do the rest. And then by the time the kids came home from school, I was a whole new, I don't even know who I was. I was a whole new woman. I had so much energy and I did not have caffeine.
Nice.
Like I took my daughter out. We went shopping. What? Then we went to the park. And then after the park, we went and got dinner. And then after dinner, I had to go pick up my oldest daughter from gymnastics. And I let my husband go home early because I knew he was tired. And I had enough energy to do all of those things. And by the time we got home, I still had more energy. I was like the never ending energy bunny. And I was like able to watch TV and hang out and talk and be goofy and fun. And I woke up this morning and was talking to ChatGPT about it. I was like, who am I? Who have I become? Who is this woman with all this energy? And basically she explained to me that I have done so much work on my nervous system that I'm rewiring the way that I feel about, like, the way I relate to energy and the way I relate to my body and giving to other people, that it's like I'm literally operating from a whole new system. And it feels so good. And so because I took such good care of myself and will continue to take such good care of myself, I have the overflow of energy to give to my family and to give to my work from a place of alignment rather than a place of burnout.
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
huge
like you found like the perfect combination, perfect and to balance everything out the way you need it.
right now.
Yeah.
Kids
Yeah.
are still at school, so I have that time to do that.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know what will happen when they come home for the summer.
Yeah. It's a little different.
It almost feels like it's like exponential returns on
Mm,
investing in yourself.
yeah.
Just by taking the time to give yourself what you needed, you had way more energy than had you try and do it a different way. That's
And
crazy.
I've built trust with my body. My body is now like, oh, this is a new pattern we're doing. Oh, okay. So there's more trust in my body to keep producing energy because it's not preparing to be burnt out and then trying to put me into like nap time early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do realize that, before I put my energy into something, anything, even if it's something that I love, there's already this like fear happening in the back of my brain of what am I going to feel like after this happens?
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing that pattern, I'm seeing that pattern, but I'm taking care of my body first. So my body is building up the resilience and the trust that we're not going to burn out after we do this activity. We can
Mhm.
actually I'm like feeling safe to live in my actual body now and safe to actually live life and enjoy it. So I've been on cloud nine the past couple of days, knowing that like I've got this new relationship with my body and with energy and with giving.
Yeah. I'm gonna start working on that. I need more of that in my life. So what are some tips that you would give for someone to help regulate their nervous system and to feel safe and all that?
Girl, I wish I had a framework that was simple, but this has literally been years and years and years of me learning and unlearning my patterns.
Mm.
And I don't have the 1-2 step, here's what you need to do right now, because I'm still in the process of integrating this and learning this for myself. But what I know has helped me was being able to recognize and identify what patterns I'm having, why I do what I'm doing, what's the limiting belief behind why I feel like I need to perform like this, and how can I better support my body to retrain and rewire my nervous system that tell me that this is how I need to do it. And that's not a simple answer. That's why we talk so much about shadow work and inner child healing and being aware of your patterns and behaviors, because there's so much information in there. And it is like an onion. We're just peeling back the pieces. But I think the one thing that I was missing through all of this was that nervous system regulation. And through this neuro-emotional coaching class that I've been taking through the Center for Emotional Education has been the key that I've needed to unlock everything for me. It was like that missing. I've taken so many coaching courses and I've gained so much insight and information about how people work and their behaviors and how to help them. But I didn't understand the nervous system regulation piece. And that's going to be the piece where your body's like, if it doesn't feel safe enough to do something, no matter what you tell yourself, no matter how many limiting beliefs you go work with, if your body still doesn't feel safe, you're not going to be able to have the thing that you want. You're not going to be able to perform in the way that you want to, because your body is going to predict that it needs to protect you. And so it's going to start giving off the signals of like, I need to go into fight or flight, or I need to go into fawn or freeze before you even get a chance to make a difference. Am I making any sense here?
Oh yeah.
Hey, Awakening Souls listeners, it's Candace from Awakenings with Candace, here to guide you on a journey of connection, healing, and transformation. Whether you're feeling stuck, craving clarity, or curious about your soul's purpose, my psychic mediumship and energy healing sessions are here to help reconnect you with your true self and uncover the path that's waiting for you. You can find me at awakeningswithcandace.com, where you can book a session and learn more about how I can support you on your journey. You know what this reminds me of? Your channel when you talked about the waves and all the things that are going on underneath the surface. The waves are the things on the surface level of us that we're trying to control, like our behaviors or the way that we're thinking. And it's actually, we can't control the waves. We can't control what's happening on the surface. We have to go under the surface and go to all of the rubbish and wreckage that's underneath the surface and work with those pieces to help change the core of who we are, to help change the core of how we're wired in order for there to be a change in the surface with the waves.
So that we can ride the waves.
So we can ride the waves.
Rose, do you want to give us some tips on what you do for that? Like some of your self-regulation tips?
Sure. I have a sensory processing disorder, and as part of the treatment for that, I had occupational therapy. And when they do occupational therapy for that, they are teaching you different techniques to regulate your nervous system so that you can function much better and keep your body in a calmer state. And so the deep breathing is always been a really important one for me. Listening to music that is calming, that is also really good for me. I've been doing 15 minutes of intentional breath work every day, usually in the evening before I go to bed. And that's a really good way for me to just kind of release all the tension from the day or anything that's going on. I like to roll upside down on a giant ball. So, stomach on the ball, I roll back and forth and side to side. And it's less than a minute. And when I do that, there's an immediate shift in my nervous system. Like it instantly calms me down. It's the craziest thing. Like by the time I'm done with that, I'm yawning and I'm relaxed and almost a little bit sleepy.
Mm.
So if I'm all wound up in the evening and I need to go to bed soon, I get on that ball and I'm ready to go to sleep, which is just the best. Other things that I do, jumping on a trampoline is really good for me. It's good sensory input and it just kind of stabilizes everything. And the other thing that I've started doing again is dry brushing. So
Oh,
just taking a dry brush, a natural fibered brush is what I use, like those bath brushes. And I just rub in a direction that goes down from my neck all the way down to my feet. And that it's like it stimulates everything. And then all of a sudden everything can calm down.
mm.
And the diagnosis that I have is I need actually overstimulation to get to a calm place.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like the opposite of what you would think, I need to be still and no, I actually need some stimulation and then it calms everything down.
Wow.
I also sleep with a weighted blanket, and that just makes me feel really, it's like when I have the weighted blanket on, I know where my body is.
Mhm.
When I don't have a weighted blanket on, I don't know where my physical body is. And so that is disconcerting. So those are some of the things that I do. And like the more I incorporate them on a regular basis, the better I feel day to day. And it improves my health as well. But it's like anything. It's like you get feeling good and then you're like, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm
Right.
feeling good. And
Mm.
so you get out of the habit, and before you know it,
Yeah.
you're, nervous system is ramping up in not so good a way because you haven't been tending to it. So, that's something good to remember. It's been a good reminder.
Well, what you're describing is putting yourself in the present moment. And I'm sure you're not just dry brushing and ignoring what's going on with your body. You're putting yourself back in your body. You're paying attention to the way the brush feels as you're stimulating your skin and moving the bristles down your arm or your leg. I mean, when we're in a fight or flight, when we're dysregulated, we tend to be up in our heads. And when I'm tapping into somebody's energy who's in this state, it's literally like pieces of their soul have left their body. They're not connected to their body anymore. And even though you may feel sensations in your body, there's like an energetic disconnection. So by being more in the present and using tools to re-regulate yourself, one, you're telling your body, I'm safe enough for my soul to be in here. I'm safe enough for all of my energy to be inside of my body, which is what makes you feel grounded. It's what makes you feel whole. So you're putting attention on the presence of your physical reality in your physical body. And it is coming to your nervous system, and your soul's like, oh, we're safe. She's got us. So I'm going to wiggle ourselves back in there. And I think that's where a lot of change happens, is when you feel safe enough to be in your own body, then you feel safe enough to become more aware of your behaviors, more aware of your feelings or patterns. And then you have more control in being able to shift and change those things. But there has to be an element of safety of being within your own body. And I'm no like scientist. My background has nothing to do with what I'm learning about nervous system regulation. So I think as we're talking about this, just have this little disclaimer that we're not psychologists, we're not professionals in this field, we are energy workers. Everything that we have talked about has been through the lens of our own experience with experimenting with these tools that we have used. But one thing I do want to say about a calmer, more regulated body is that it opens up your intuition as well. It makes it easier for you to hear your guides, to hear your own inner wisdom, and to guide your life. A lot of people come to me because they don't trust their own selves. They don't trust their own inner guidance, or maybe they can't hear it. And a lot of that has to do with them not being fully present in their own body because it just doesn't feel safe to them, whether that be because of past traumas or emotional dysregulation. All of those things will create somebody's like, poof, the starburst out of their own body. So when you get back into your body, it's easier for you to hear yourself and hear your guides. And then you have more trust in yourself that you don't feel like you need to outsource the answers from psychics or from healers or from other people. And there's so much more like autonomy in leading your own life. And I've noticed for myself, since these past few months of really practicing on getting back into my body, I'm able to heal myself in ways I didn't know I could do. I was outsourcing my healing to other healers, and it was helpful. And I highly recommend that for beginners. But there does come a time in somebody's journey when they're always outsourcing that it's no longer helpful to outsource anymore. It's helpful to come back home and learn how to do it for yourself. And I have been impressed and blown away by the meditations that I've been doing that are not guided. I'm not going out and listening to anything. I'm doing my own meditations, and I'm having these profound healing experiences that I can see the transformation within 24 hours of my own healing. And it's just been really incredible.
I love doing that too, Candace. I love when something comes up or I get triggered of going into meditation, and just asking, okay, guides, show me what's going on. Show me the root. How do we fix this? They are there and they are ready to help you with that. And sometimes it's a memory. Sometimes it's a feeling. Sometimes you get this aha thought that you haven't had before. So it's not always something very concrete, but they will always give you something. And you just take that and you start working on it, and the magic happens. Yeah, I think the main takeaway, I mean, there was all kinds of good things with that channel, but the main takeaway is that your journey is important, your specific journey. So taking the time to focus on yourself has great value. So by learning to fix your nervous system, to regulate it, to honor your needs, to when you're feeling overwhelmed, to find balance and time to self-care, that has great value. So don't discount the importance of focusing within and allowing yourself to have the luxury to love yourself and care for yourself so that you can grow in the very best way. Well, everybody, we hope that you found that information and that discussion helpful. Just a reminder, if you would like to work with us more directly, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Awakening Souls Podcast. You can work with Candace one-on-one at awakeningswithcandace.com, or you could work with Rose one-on-one at rose-marielow.com. We would love to work with you more if you're interested in that. So take good care of yourself. Don't be afraid to give yourself the time and the energy that you need to grow on your journey in the very best of ways. We'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.